You caught me at in a very bad moment there, Chora. But hey, how are you doing? Oh, I need to be able to see my desktop. Okay, there we go. Connection problem? No. I was just restarting the stream to cut for a VOD. So yeah, we're gonna do some coaching right now with Aristotle. Let's give him a call. Yeah, man, how you doing?
I'm great. You?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
Great. I tried to connect myself in the US server here.
Yeah. No worries. We've got time. I had a pretty good ladder session just now. I beat a 6K Zerg.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it felt easy too. Like that's the best part. I was like, wow, I just fucking rocked this guy's socks, you know? Like
You usually play as a Zerg, is that right?
yeah, I play a Zerg mostly.
Okay, let me try to get in your channel in the game. Sec.
Yeah. So I have a small document here, and the two things that you wanted to look at was you have no specific TvP build order, so we can kind of brainstorm on that. And secondly, you have a Hellbat opener that you like to do. You sent me a replay. I looked at it. I think you do 2 factory Blue Flame Hellbat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I looked up a YouTube video on how it kind of should be done, and then so I have some thoughts on that as well. Like, how do you follow up? Was your biggest question, right? Like, how do I follow up after the build is done?
Exactly.
Yeah. Shall we start with TvP?
And then as you wish. As you wish. Let me get myself ready for taking notes.
Sure. Yeah, you can always rewatch the VOD if you want to, but definitely appreciate it if you just take some notes. So let's start with your first question. Is you have no specific build for TvP right now? So why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
Mainly, so let me tell you about my history in the game. I have played Brood War like 10 years or more ago. Okay, and nice. Then I have this big gap in playing StarCraft. And since the pandemic started, I got with a group of friends and start to practice, right? Playing again.
Really fun.
But we play mostly as a team.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
We even have a coach, but we usually play 4 against 4.
Cool.
So the build that I usually do is for this game, and I think it works pretty well against Terran. That is mostly Viking, Marines, and tanks.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I went after this Hellbat opener against Zerg, but I have never took the time for looking for something against Protoss. So I think it's just the phase of the game that I am at. I'm very. It's not that I put very much time on it. I'm for sure I don't put the time that I would like to, but so I think it's just a process. I have a build for TvP, one that I like for TvZ, and now it's time for TvP. I think that's it.
Okay. So yeah, then I'm just gonna start asking you some questions, and maybe we'll get to something that you enjoy. So, firstly, how do you think TvP should play out, or do you have any units that you really like in the matchup, or are there any units that you hate from Protoss? Like, how does the matchup feel for you?
Yeah, what I have just done recently is start to adding Ghost to my late game.
Yeah.
So I get the impression that with EMP that helps a lot. And another strong impression that I have is that if I stay too quiet too long on my side, they will eventually get with an unbeatable air toss.
Mm-hmm.
So I also have in mind that I have tried to make some aggression during the game for not having this problem. Another thing that I need to improve, and that's also true for my TvT, is drops. When they attack me with drops and me dropping more. So a classic way that I'm screwed in TvP is when they come with the
War Prism?
no War Prism, exactly.
Yeah.
With the War Prism, and I'm not ready for that. So, and I also, another thing that I'm trying to get a bit better is being able to scout, not scouting in a pro level that you really know everything that the guy is doing, but at least that you have an idea if they are trying to make more of a macro game or 1 or 2 base push or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so what would you like to focus on now? Do you want to think of just a simple plan for the games?
Yeah, I think maybe if we can have like a simple opener that would make an aggression maybe from 2 bases, I would say around 5 or 6 minutes, and then I can try to play from that.
Right. Yeah, that sounds good. So what kind of aggression are you thinking about? Are you thinking about like drop play? And like dropping some Widow Mines or dropping Hellions or maybe going Banshee? Or are you more thinking about a dedicated bio tank push, maybe with one Raven and then you
I
move into a third phase?
Now that you said, I think if we do the drop one, that might be nice for my other games as well, right? Since I'm not very familiar with dropping, if I practice on TvP, I might start to get more comfortable on my other matchups as well.
Yeah.
Drop that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, so I think it has been popular for years that a lot of people do 1-1-1 for Protoss, where they go 1 Rax and then you go factory and then you get your starport right away and you can do all sorts of things from that. So what would you prefer? Because I don't play that matchup, so it's hard for me to recommend really a build. It's more let's think of something you can go look for after.
I'm more familiar with the 1-1-1. So if we start from there, I think we might just like adapt something for having this drop being well executed or well in time.
Yeah.
Because I usually do 1-1-1 and I start with a Liberator for doing some harass. Maybe we can adapt that for doing
Liberators are very strong.
Back mines or something.
Yeah. And how do you like to go into the mid game? What kind of do you just go Marine Marauder medevac with tanks, or do you prefer Widow Mines, or do you like Liberators more?
No, the first option, I think. I will go more Widow Mines if I'm playing against Zerg, because I have made the opening with 2 factories, so I end up with more Widow Mines.
Yeah.
But usually I go the Marine Marauder tanks, Viking.
Okay, so
and ghosts in the late game.
Yeah, that's late game. So, but late game is a bit. That's a whole different topic, I would say. But now, kind of your mid-game transition. So you're looking at bio with medevacs, and you want to support that with mines, correct?
Okay. Sounds great.
Yeah, but that's good to focus on, right? Because you can make all the units. You can make Marine, Marauders, medevacs, Vikings, tanks, mines, but then you kind of end up not having any of them. So you kind of need to dedicate yourself to like a good set of units that will help you in the mid game, and then from your scouting, you can see, okay, now he's adding Colossus. I need something to deal with that because Marine Marauder mine can't really deal with Colossus that well. And then you might start adding in Vikings or tanks, whichever you prefer.
Okay. Sure. Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. And then, do you have any problems with TvP right now? You cited the drop play, right? That's difficult for you. I think
we focus on a nice opener with drop and then this mid game I think should work. TvP is my worst matchup when I look at replay stats. Is my worst matchup.
Yeah.
So
I
do have a problem. I'm not really sure specifically what the problem is, but I think I can say that I do have a problem.
Well, I think a lot of problems will go away and new problems will arise once you look for a build order that we just discussed. So you look for a build order that does a drop, like a mine drop. They're pretty popular right now, so you can probably find that pretty easily. And then with the starport, so maybe you make a Liberator or a Viking, both are fine. And then you, I think, yeah, Maru played it versus Hurricane, for example, on Jagannatha. That was the first game, Maru versus Hurricane. That was like 2 days ago, I think. So
2 days ago.
Yeah, you can steal his build, for example, and just kind of try and do it his way.
What is the best way of doing that? I know there are some websites where you can get the build order kind of organized.
Right.
That's a good way, you think, or I might look for a replay or
whichever you prefer. I personally just use VODs like that and just kind of watch it a couple times and note the timings down. Like if you look at my stream right now, I have what do you call it? A spreadsheet where I just put down some supplies, some times, and what I should do at that moment.
Okay. You play with a spreadsheet.
Yeah. How I do it is how I recommend you would also do it. Is I use the spreadsheet to get it down. Write down a couple of benchmarks. Like at 3 minutes, this I should have this much supply, this many SCVs, and then just try to like play the build in your head once, and then just try it in the game, and just not look at it anymore. And then the next day maybe you'll try it again, and then you try to think of the build order from memory. So you don't look at it, you just think of it from memory. Like, okay, so I go 14 depot, and then I go 16 racks, and then 16 gas, and then you really notice when you get stuck, and it takes a lot of energy. Like it's really annoying actually, but I recommend you do it. That you really try to think of what should the build order be, and see where you forget. Be like, oh, and then I don't know. Is it factory first, or do I get a reactor first, or was it one marine, or is it Reaper then marine? Like, and when you after a couple days of doing this, you'll get it down really well and really easy.
Do you have any specific format in your spreadsheet? I have just created one, so
yeah. If you I can make a screenshot as well, but if you look at the stream, it's also there. I'll just send it to you.
Okay. So are you streaming to me or not? No, right?
I'm sorry. No. I'm just I'm sending it as a screenshot right now.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
you make one per sheet. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, that's just the template that I use, and you can do it any way you like.
Yeah, but this sounds great. Let me copy here to my Excel file, and I'll start. And I'll start to implement something like that.
Yeah, I think that is for me that really works, and you should find what works for you, obviously. But this is a good start.
Sure, and especially because usually I have 2 screens on my computer. I can play while I take a quick look on that. So that might.
Yeah, if that helps you, then you can do that definitely. I prefer to memorize it, then play it versus the AI a couple times, see how it feels, then go back to the build, see what I changed to make it easier for myself, or maybe what did I miss, and then I kind of try it against the AI again, and then I go back to the build, and then usually I get it down pretty well, and then I can go on the ladder and play it a couple times.
Yeah, since I don't have like much time for playing, I usually prefer to stay in the ladder. I have more fun there. So
yeah, then you should definitely do that. Yeah,
get my ass kicked. I like that.
Yeah, just play ladder then. That's also fine.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we can do for your TvP right now. So you kind of know what kind of build you. I can look up the build for you as well. Maru.
Yeah, maybe you can suggest this one that you said of Maru, if you can help me find it. So I put it here in the spreadsheet and I work on that.
Yeah, let me go to the... Yeah, it's... Oh, he did a weird thing with the bunker, but... otherwise, you can look at the other games. It's a best of 5, and I think they played all the 5 matches. And I think Maru goes for a Widowmine drop in the first game at least. And even though he loses a bunch of SCVs to Oracles, he still ends up winning. Oh, he goes for a Hellion drop actually that map, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find a good build there. And otherwise, just message me and I'll help you search.
Okay, so from here, from watching the video here, I should be able to see what Maru is doing, right?
Yeah, you should be able to get a clear sense. They don't show everything, but you can usually figure most of it out. And it's okay to not know the exact timings, right? Like,
yeah, I won't be able to perform in his exact time anyways.
No.
So.
Yeah. None of us can.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's TvP. I think we'll move over to your TvZ, unless you have any questions about TvP or any things you want to talk about.
Let me just think a bit.
Yeah, and if you have a question later, we can return to it.
One big question is something that I have in mind.
Yes.
But just to confirm, I have in mind if I scout like in my 17th SCV, and I see 2 guesses from the Protos, I usually have the idea that they are up to something. Maybe a drop or a push or something on early game. Is that right or not necessarily?
Not necessarily, because from what I know is that taking 2 gases is fairly standard actually, because they just have probes left over and they don't have a natural yet. So usually it's not something weird, I would say. But usually they use that gas to tech, especially if you don't see a sentry shortly after that. Then they have some sort of tech. So usually it's a starport that they'll make with the extra gas that they have. So yeah, if you see that such early double gas, it's not really weird, I would say.
Okay, and Stargate, you mean, right?
Yeah, usually it's Stargate, but yeah, I think other builds are possible, but I think Starport is most common right now.
Okay.
I think something more interesting to look for is if you can see both pylons. Because if you don't see all the pylons, then maybe there's a proxy.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So I have to find 2 pylons in their base, otherwise there is another pylon elsewhere. Okay,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Good.
Yeah. Just that's something you can check after the game. Be like, I thought he didn't have a lot of pylons, and then you just check, and maybe you missed it. Maybe he was supply blocked, and then because I think when you scout, you should see 2, and sometimes you can stay around to see the 3rd one going up. That can be a tip off, right? Does that help?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we move to ZVT. We can if you have any TvP questions that come up later, feel free to ask.
Sure. Great,
so the second one you asked, how do I follow up from a Hellbat opener? So I did some Googling, and I found a YouTube video about the Blue Flame Hellbat push. I think this looks a little bit like what you tried to do in the replay, although you added some Marauders. But it's...
Yeah, in fact, I just got this idea recently that one of the problems in this build is when I make the initial push and the guy come up with roaches, and then I have to come around it. And what I realized, if instead of Marines I get 1 or 2 Marauders, it get me more time to in the game. So
what is... If you are afraid of roaches, you can scout with the 2 first Hellions that you make. Just drive straight across the map and just check. Just be like, do you have a roach warren? Do you have lings? How many queens do I see? And you can kind of get a feel for, is it roaches or not? And you don't want to lose him. Just run away. If he has a shit ton of lings, just go back home, because then obviously he can't have roaches. Or if he has roaches, then he's super duper duper all in. So that's a really good thing. If your build isn't as good versus roaches, just drive the first 2 Hellions across the map to check.
Yeah, but the impression that I have is that they might switch to roaches after they see my Hellions. Do you think that is that possible, or that's my impression?
Most Zergs will not switch to roach unless they scout double factory. So if they see your second factory, they will definitely make a roach warren or a lot of queens. Or if they see more than 8 Hellions. So I think you don't show your Hellions as much, so that shouldn't be as much of a problem. But 6 to 8 Hellions is kind of standard right now. So if you make any more than that, and the Zerg sees them, then they are like, oh, this is a problem. Like, this is probably committed pressure, or it's mech, and roaches are not bad against mech. Like, the only thing that's stopping Zergs from going Roach Warren versus Terran is the fact that roaches kind of suck versus bio.
Okay.
So yeah, if as a Zerg, if I see more than 6 or 8 Hellions, I make a Roach Warren. Or if I wanted to do a Roach push myself, obviously I'll make a Roach Warren, but you can scout that with the 2 Hellions. Or if I see a second factory, then obviously I'm like, oh, this. If I see 2 factories, I'm already kind of thinking, oh, this is probably mech. So then I'm not afraid of putting down the Roach Warren.
Yeah, so I think that's my case usually. I go with my Hellions to make an aggression. It makes some damage, but it's not that great because I'm still trying to improve my Hellion control. Yeah. And they come back with roaches, right? And that's when having a couple of Marauders instead of Marines helped me.
Yeah, so Hellbat Marauder is pretty strong. But when you put Blue Flame into it as well, it's kind of expensive. So I don't think it matters. But if you're gonna get Marauders, at least get Concussive. And yeah, you don't want to make them blindly, I suppose, because the Marauders aren't going to do much if they don't have roaches. And if they do have roaches, only then they're good, right? But you can kind of maybe make them reactively. Like, you can keep a tech lab on your barracks and start stim if you want to go into bio. And then just make Marauders reactively into your bunker if you see roaches. Something like that. And then you can also start a Cyclone or a tank from your tech lab factory, and you'll probably be fine.
Yeah, Cyclone. For roaches, you think Cyclone is also an answer, so...
Yeah. Especially that early, because they usually only have like 9-ish roaches. And then they... in the first attack, so the Cyclone will definitely kill like 2 or 3. And if you have a bunker with 1 or 2 Marauders in it and just repair it, they just can't do anything. And your Hellions can also help, and they can tank some damage. Make sure the Cyclone doesn't get targeted down. So it kind of depends what you like. I think I personally would make a tank always, because on most maps you have a high ground where you can put it and defend your wall, and the tank kind of has more use later in the game.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, but
yeah, I think what I usually do when I see roaches, I go tank mines from my 2 factories, right? I will have a factory with a reactor and a factory with a tech lab, so I go tank mines usually. So mines give me a bit of map control and tanks for protection.
Yeah, mines are super good versus Zerg. Super annoying, but super good. Yeah, you could even swap the second factory to a tech lab, go double tank, once you have your third base. That's pretty common versus Hydra. If you face Hydras, like Lingbane Hydra, then second factory tank is really good. So this build actually sets you up really well for those kinds of styles.
Okay, so just if I can, let me take notes in my new spreadsheet here.
Yeah.
So the point is, I will do Marauders only if I see roaches, right? Not before. You don't think there is...
No, I think you can make Marauders, but then it's all in. Then I would all in with it. And not, kind of not really play a macro game after it. Like, you could do it, and if you do enough damage, then you play the macro game. But
Okay.
I think it's a bit too all in. Like Hellbat Marauder, like both units are just not very good versus Zerg, really.
Okay.
Like
So Marauder only if I see after.
Yeah,
Only
I think
if.
you can make one blindly if you want, just to be safe, especially on smaller maps like the one you sent me the replay on. I don't remember the name. Beckett
Maybe Spectre.
Industries. Yeah, I think on that map, if you make a bunker with one Marauder, that's okay. That's just it's super small map, and then if the roaches just kind of dodge your Hellions, suddenly you're not dead, right? Then I think that's fine. But like just making blindly like 3 Marauders is just kind of a waste of money. And they don't really add anything to the push, I feel like.
Okay, and in this case, I do composite shells. Do you think or not?
I'm sorry?
In this blind one or not?
Yeah, you can make one blind. It's okay.
No, yeah, but should I do composite shells or not?
Oh, concussive shells. No, I would start stim if you want bio.
Okay.
Just start stim, because stim takes a long time, and it just you want stim. Stim is just too good.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Do you want to play mech or bio? Just
here also, I think I'm more used to with playing bio and not very used to playing mech.
Yeah.
I think the most mech that I do is starting with this Hellbat push.
Okay.
That's the most.
Okay, so then I'll tell you what's also in the video. I recommend you watch the video later, and then you can note down the build order there.
Sure.
I sent it in Discord. I don't know if you saw it, but the blue.
Yeah, it's a big group one, right? Yeah, I have it here already.
Okay, good. So in that build, you'll learn that you'll do a push with Hellbats. I think you have like 10 to 12 Hellbats and a medevac, and like 2 Marines or something. Doesn't matter. Okay. And then once you attack, you do the following. You get a CC, then 2 engineering bays.
Third CC, right?
Yeah, third CC. Then 2 engineering bays, and then you add extra barracks. So probably 2 more barracks. So you have 3 barracks, and then once you have a third base, so you land it and you have SCVs, you can make 2 or 3 more barracks. So from 3 base, you can kind of sustain 6-ish barracks. Maybe you make a 7th one if you know your macro is kind of shaky. 2 factory and 1 starport, with 2 engineering base and 1 armory. And that's nice. That's a really nice setup.
Sorry, the 2 base will be just after the CCs, or I'm wrong?
So
the third CC, and then I do the engineering base already, or not?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So CC, then engineering base, and then Raxus when you can afford them. And then you start add-ons on the Raxus, and then you start producing.
Okay, and then I go additional factors in starport. Is that right?
No, you already have them from the opener, so you keep them.
Oh.
So and then on 3 base, this is kind of your benchmark. When you are on 3 base, you can produce from 6 to 7 barracks. You have the 2 factories that you can use to produce the tank mine. You have 1 starport that you usually make medevacs from, so you can do the drops and stuff. And you have double engineering bay and 1 armory for upgrades. That's kind of that's what you will be going for on 3 base macro. And then from there, of course, you can make 4th base, more barracks, more whatever you want. But I think that you'll win or die before that happens usually. So
so is I will end up 7-1, right?
Well, yeah, 7-1 would be nice.
On that your last statement that I will die or win before that, I got the impression that I also doesn't have any good logic on when to attack. I have already seen some videos saying, oh, when your upgrades are done, your +1 or +2 or +3, go ahead because you might have an advantage.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that's a good thing, or I might try to get a scan on them to decide if I should go or not. Any ideas on when should I do an attack?
So
broad rules.
Definitely when you get a power spike, like your upgrades finishing, is a good moment to move out. You don't have to commit to the attack, but you just move out and you can scan ahead and see how big is this army. You just make the Zerg scared, right? If he doesn't see you or a small army, then you just you go attack. Good trades. But if you move out and you see like super big army from the Zerg, then you're like, oh, I can go back. So normal power spikes, normal moments to move out are indeed 1-1, 2-2, and 3-3 are great timings. I think 2-2 with +1 tank, like vehicle weapons. That's a very common strong push. I don't know if that really works well from this opener, but I would guess it will. And also, a common moment to push is also when you have 2 or 4 medevacs. That's also usually a moment where you start either dropping or pushing. Because that's the first moment you can move out on the map without losing your whole army, because you can pick up. So that's when you can take a risk. You're like, okay, I have 2, maybe 4 medevacs. I have some marines, maybe a marauder. I go attack. And then if he has super many Ling Banelings, like a lot of Ling Bane, then you just pick up and fly back home. Because that's not drones, so he's now behind, and you know how big his army is, and you can just sit behind your wall and make a bigger army. Maybe you can send 1 drop, and then you attack later. So that's kind of how Terran ebbs and flows. But that kind of goes for every race, really, where you want to press that advantage, and sure, upgrades are advantage. So when Stim finishes, that's also a moment when, like, I think 2-1-1, that build, that makes 60 Marines, 2 medevacs, and Stim. So, and that hits around, like, what, 430-ish, 415? And that's really strong versus Zerg as well. It's a bit old and outdated right now, because they can drone a lot, but I just want to illustrate that's also a good timing, right? Like, I just have medevacs, so I can escape. I have Stim, so my units are strong. I have to attack. Otherwise, you invest a lot of money into those and they do nothing.
Okay. If they're Stim,
it's the same with the Banshee, right? If you have 1 or 2 Banshees, then you go attack. Because 1 or 2 Banshees, they have cloak, they can one-shot drone. That's when they're strongest. But if you wait for 4, that's kind of... That doesn't feel good. So it's the same with your army. If the army has 1-1, then you want to attack. But if you're halfway 2-2, you're kind of like, maybe I should wait for 1 more round of units.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, yeah.
So yeah.
So I think I will watch the videos and try to write the build orders in the template that you gave me. And so, I can follow up with you if I have any.
Yeah. So here. Oh, did you manage to get into the EU server or no?
Yes, I'm here. I have even joined your channel here.
Really?
I think.
Maybe I did.
Oh, sorry. I think my game I might have.
Yeah, it might have gone inactive and then it leaves there. Because maybe we can watch your replay together if you like.
Oh, that's awesome. Sure. Absolutely.
So if you join my channel, then I can invite you, and then I'll start the replay.
Sure.
Oh, I don't know where I put it. Oh, here it is.
I think I'm on it.
I don't see you in my chat channel yet.
No, I have tried to send you a message. Maybe the game is still kind of loading.
Okay. So you know how to switch servers, right? Or
switch what? Sorry.
Servers? Do you know how to switch servers?
Yeah, I think I have switched already. Let me just check on the options. Oh no, you put me back in the Americas.
Right.
I have logged out the last one in EU, but.
Ah, there you are.
Now
There you
very good. Yeah, awesome.
There you are. That should be good. So let's just look at how the game goes, and any questions that you have, be sure to fire. Because I watched it yesterday, and all I remember is that you attacked with half your helmets, and it was kind
of. Yeah, be ready to see all these kind of poor execution things. That might happen. Yeah, so.
Okay. So you're going. Is this gas first or is this rags first?
Gas
gas first, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you do gas first.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. I think you don't need to gas first with this build, but I don't think it's a problem either. We can see if your gas float's high, but. Oh.
And another thing that I think is a bit specific is that I take too long to start to produce any combat units, right?
Yeah.
Go to the reactor first, so
yeah,
like
the
arrive
thing is... Okay, sorry. Please speak.
No, if the guy arrives with one Zergling, I'm screwed. Right.
Yeah, but oh yeah, you should probably SCV scout for that, but this is still fine if you go double marine after, but you only made one marine, which I wonder why. Were you supply blocked or just?
No,
yeah.
not sure.
Because you have the reactor, you could just make a double marine. I think with the build that I sent you. Yeah.
Look at here, probably I have tried, but I was short on minerals, and then I started.
Right, and then you probably pressed A now, and then yeah, makes sense.
Then I went back to ICVs, and that was it.
Yeah, that's fine, I think. So, other than that, I think the early build is looking pretty decently. I think I like the second gas having as well. Second factory out of range, right? Let me check.
Sorry?
Yeah. Zerg did not see your second factory. That's good.
Oh.
Too bad you didn't kill the Overlord.
Here is some more execution with the barracks as well.
Yeah, that happens because you put everything on one hockey, I think. Then yeah, that happens sometimes. It's okay. So let's see. So I think with the builder that I sent you, you'll probably have to make a starport right now. I don't know when you make it, but like for example, these two Hellions that you have right now could be going across the map and checking, and you would be across the map and like well, let's say 3:30-ish, you would be across the map. So let's wait.
Looking for a roach warren, is that right?
Yeah, or anything that screams roaches to you. So not having a third base, that kind of stuff. So let's say it's 3:33 right now. You would be at as natural. You would see some drones. You would see no Zerglings. So you would be a bit suspicious, right? You would be like, maybe. And then I would say just scan his main. And then you scan his main right now. You see an Evo chamber and a Baneling nest. So you know right away, okay, this is not roaches. He's doing a weird Ling-based thing. And then you know you can just do your plan.
Sorry, I'm not familiar. What the Evo chamber tells me if I saw it?
That he's bad. That he's bad. That's all that it tells you. Yeah, maybe he's going for like a Carapace build, or like if this was a Roach Warren, then sure it can be +1 Carapace Roach or something. But early Evo chambers just don't do anything versus Terran right now. So it's only good if you are going like 2-1-1 marine-based opener. So then it could be early Carapace. These builds do exist, but they always go into Lingbane Mira or Lingbane Hydra. So no roaches. So this early Evo chamber is just kind of weird, but all you know is there's a lot of money going into an upgrade that's not going to help him versus the Hellbat push. So it's just good for you.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. but good question. But I would just, like, you come into the natural right now, if your first 2 Hellions would be across the map, you would see no full saturation on the natural, you would see no third base, you'd be like, huh, this is really weird, and then you just scan the main. And then you see no lair, okay, no nidus, and you see an evo chamber, that's weird, and you click and you see a baneling nest. And that's just like, oh, okay, this guy's just scared and not really doing something strong.
Okay, but when I see baneling nest, can I say that he's committed with lings, right, or not?
Yeah, definitely. I would maybe even think maybe it's a baneling bust. Even though the evo chamber is really weird, but he's on 2 base, he barely has any drones in the natural. Even though the drone count is kind of okay, but he's making 8 links right now. And he's making a baneling nest. And the baneling nest is a little early for a 2 base build even. But I understand if you don't know that. But I would just kind of be... If I saw this, I would just continue normally and make 1 bunker. Just make a bunker just to be sure. Because he doesn't have a third base, and you're just kind of... This guy's playing weird, so you can easily make a bunker in the front. Yes.
And this is the best location, right?
Yeah, that's a good location. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little bit closer to the command center, maybe, like where the back Hellion is, because then you can easily pull your SCVs from the mineral line and repair the bunker. If it's too far in front, they will snipe it before you can repair. So a little bit closer to your barracks.
Okay.
So it's more like here. So a little bit further up. Okay, so that would be the scouting. You're making constant Hellions as you can afford them, so that's good. Nice armory timing, and you start blue flame now. I think this is all good. You'll learn from the build order if you make a starport now or stim first. I don't know. I think it's starport before stim because you want metavacs. And you're making...
I think that's exactly...
Yeah, talk.
No, I would say that's exactly the part where I kind of miss it. I know what to do until here, and then I just do like Hellions and going and getting all my macro and pro.
So this move out is a little weird. But this is maybe a bit higher level, but an odd number of Hellions screams there's a second factory. Because normally you make 2 Hellions at a time. So if I see 5 Hellions or 7 Hellions, I'm like, there's an extra factory, right? So, and also, you have no reason to move out. Your armory is already done. So if you wanted to do attack with your Hellbat push, then you should already be across the map. So you should have moved out earlier. And if you want to move out with Blue Flame, you should move out a little later. So this is kind of like an anti-timing in that sense. So I think you want to wait a little bit longer for, let's say, 8 Hellions or so.
That was in fact completely random, right? I say like, oh, let's go.
Yeah, so I see you going here. This is like, this is so weird because you poke in, which is really nice. Like you see nothing, so you could just go to the natural, to the mineral line now, and then you like, then you transform in his face, I think. Which is just, you take a lot of free damage, and then now, oh no, you kite back really well. I remember now. So this is all good, I think. This is all good. Too bad you missed 1 cycle of Hellions. You can even queue them up if you want. I think queuing up is better than forgetting. And,
what do you mean queuing up? You mean on production?
Yeah, on production. And also, so here you see, like, this is a bit of execution error for you, right? And that just comes with experience. But here you should have a couple more Hellions. You should be moving out really soon because Blue Flame is 20 seconds away from being done. You have your armory. You should be starting right now, or the starport should be done already, actually. You'll learn it from the build that I sent. And you should now be starting a CC and 2 more barracks, kind of, in like a couple seconds. So not right now, but... So this 1 Marauder is nice. You could... If we made the bunker because of what we saw, this would be super good, right? So you're very close to having a very streamlined build order. So this is the weird attack, right? Like you're gonna attack him with 5 bruised Hellbats, and you already...
Yeah, that's a question. Like, since I have these Hellbats, they are almost dead. Should I come back with them, or should I make a
Yeah,
final push?
you can reinforce with your... Like, if you had hit your macro cycle, you would have 4 to 6 Hellions at home right now. And as you can see, your blue flame is almost done, so you would move out with everything at home. You can even bring the Marauder if you think that's wise. Or you can leave it at home in a bunker, and then you would... Then the Hellions would be reinforcing you right now, and then you would hit 5 to 10 seconds after this, but with like 10 Hellbats with blue flame. So that's obviously stronger than 5 Hellbats with no HP without blue flame, right? Yeah, you just hit a bit of a
anti-timer. Now.
Yeah, like you invest all this money, blue flame just finished, and you already wasted basically 5 Hellions. So I think you bring them across right now, and then you do a follow-up push, which is good.
Yeah, so it's the good is to reinforce and not to like go with those guys back and repair and all that, right?
No, I think you just want to hit once. Okay, so now the game is going to get weird because you're going to get counterattacked.
Exactly.
Let's see. So this would be good, like this reinforcement of your attack, and just but a little bit earlier. So 3rd CC on location, I like it, since it's a little bit late. Even though he's on on 2 base. So he's doing a Baneling bust like we predicted, kind of, but a very bad Baneling bust. Did he actually use... Oh, he got +1 melee. What the hell? Okay, so this is a nice attack, right? That you're doing right now in the natural. This is really strong. You could have this 30 seconds earlier with full HP Hellbats, and it would be very strong.
Yeah, maybe here I could have, if I do properly, 1 or 2 medvacs. That would help a lot, right?
Yes, and maybe even 1 bunker in the natural so that this run by doesn't do as much. You could even make this CC. You can make it in the wall to help you to kind of wall off more. You can also make engineering base in the wall, but a lot of Zergs like to Baneling bust that, so you kind of have to see how that works for you. But it's an option. And so you do a good attack right now. You don't really have to micro Hellbats a lot, because they're really bad when they're microed. You basically just move command forward and A move again, because they're just...
Yeah, and like in this situation, I went for the... For the drones.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Like
that's a good. Okay.
You win the game right now. Like if you look at the, he has 22 drones. You have 41 SCVs. If you just would have continued making a couple more SCVs, dropping your mules, you're super far ahead. So right now, like the Banelings come, you transform in his face.
Yeah. And then all that big advantage start to diminish. Okay.
Yeah, but that's not really a problem. Like the units were dead anyways. I think you get another Baneling kill here. Ah, too bad.
Yeah.
So you know he's super dead. So I think you should like you killed so many drones. You should just macro up right now. Just get another bunker. Basically, you shouldn't lose this game, but I know it goes on for a long while.
Yeah, exactly. It ended up being a very close match. But I think like from the beginning, what are the nice takeouts is that the beginning is quite okay. So I can have maybe a medvac helping me out. Here I went for benches.
I want to say you're already doing all the things that you should do. You're just a little slow. Like you have 3rd CC, double engineering bay, and 2 more barracks. Like that's perfect, but it's a little late. You didn't get stim pack. I think you got combat shields first, which I would say just get stim pack because it's just way better. You still don't have any medevacs. You're going Banshee right now. I think that's a little bit much. You could do it. You can do it, but I think you would rather have some medevacs right now because medevacs make your bio really scary. If you want to go mech, then Banshees again are good because you're not investing into bio, so you just don't really need the medevacs.
Okay. And for Banshees, do you think I always do cloak? If I decide to do Banshees, is always cloak, or is there any situation that no cloaking Banshees okay?
it's basically, it's not a big investment, but you're not gonna do much with it. I like Cloak, I think, because then you can kind of deny a fourth base for a little bit. And of course you have the, oh, he didn't have a Spore Crawler, now I win kind of moments, which is nice. So I think it's more of a high level move to not get Cloak. Like it's only 100, like.
Okay,
it's
so
good.
for me it's decide to do Banshee, do Cloak. Okay.
Yeah, Banshees are also very good versus Ravagers and Roaches, so they're very, very safe unit. If you have like 2 Banshees, it's very hard for the Zerg to move out without having Hydras or Mutas. Oh, he has so many queens. This guy has a lot of queens.
Yeah. So
you're doing all the things you should be doing. It's only a little late, and when you kind of like attack, everything stops. You stop macroing, which is I think you should just practice just transform the Hellbats when Blue Flame is almost done. So Blue Flame is like 20 seconds more, and then it's done. Then you drive across the map with all your Hellions, just transform them and just A-move them towards your opponent, and then go back to base, and then just macro a little bit, and then look back. Just look a little bit less at the Hellbats. You don't have to look at the attack for a bit, and just focus on getting the good buildings on the right time, and then eventually it will be very familiar to you, and it will be easier for you, and then you can look at the attack a bit more again.
Okay, yeah, got it.
Because right now you did good damage with the Hellbat attack, but you're still in a very awkward position because you don't have stim, your upgrades haven't started yet, and you don't have any medevacs yet. You also don't have a tank yet. You don't need it in this game, but maybe if you saw Roaches, you could.
I think maybe you saw the reason of my question, right? Because in the beginning, the build order was more neaty, was more okay, and now it's a kind of mess up. Like getting place, but not in very orderly fashion.
So, but you're super far ahead if you look at the SCV count, like.
Yeah, I think they get with lots of banning. Oh, that's a good a question also. If I start to see that he's doing bannings, that is exactly what happens in this game. I usually doesn't have like the ability for splitting everything up. Maybe adding some others would be here's where I get screwed. I think everyone's kind of waiting, and they just get hit for several bannings. Look at that.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's still an okay trade for you since he's on 2 base and you're still ahead. So it wasn't. This was a good attack. I feel like, even though there wasn't really a timing, it's still a good attack to just check: is he taking a 3rd base? But again, these Hellbats doesn't really matter. I like this Widow Mine. You have 3 bases saturated. A nice tank. This tank is really well positioned. You have a nice. Oh, the wall's almost done. There's a small gap in the wall.
I think that I was screwed.
Yeah. There's 1-1 on the way. Okay, you still don't have any medevacs. These Banshees are not doing anything. So it's small things, but you're doing very well.
Yeah, but I mean, like in this situation, if I have 2 Banshees, like you said, the idea would be to cloak and send them, right?
Yeah, just send them to one of his front or one of his 3rd bases. Just check. It's also a way to scout, right? Attacking with Banshees also scouts for you a little bit. So you get a 4th base now. But now look at your production. You have 3 base saturation, but you only have 3 barracks, 2 factory, 1 starport. And your money is going to be very high because you need more barracks to produce from this much money. So maybe instead of this 4th base, you first 4 more barracks, and then you get a 4th base, which is fine.
That's something that I have to.
Yeah. Oh, and now you.
When I have too much money, I fill up the production line, but I don't do any more facilities.
No, but definitely make a couple more facilities, and it's just good to know how much you can afford on each base. So on 1 base, it's kind of like 1-1-1, 2-1-1-ish. On 2 base, you can get 3 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport plus upgrades, and then on 3 base, you can add like 3 more barracks, maybe even a factory. I think the highest amount is like 8 racks, and that's kind of a very committed pressure build, where they go 8 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport, double upgrades. But that you should kind of take that with a grain of salt, because obviously your macro is not going to be perfect. So if you make 1 or 2 more barracks, that's just fine. That just means you can catch up in your unit count faster if you miss 1 cycle. So it's kind of like Zergs. Zergs that are bad also make macro hatches. I always make a macro hatch when I have high money, because I just I I need
kind
to
of give you capacity, right, for getting the money going. Okay.
Yeah, so let's speed to the game a little bit more, because I need to leave in a couple minutes.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, so oh, you move commanded. Oh, you didn't even A move. You move commanded. So
no, you know what the point is? I think my keyboard is not working properly.
Oh, because
so
when you look at this, like you still have more supply. You have an equal army count. And oh, I need to open the door for a minute. But yeah, you should just be winning. Like, look at the money. You have so much money. If this were all Marines or units, easy game, right? Easy game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not producing much. Look, I'm not producing nothing for my hats. Yeah.
Yeah, you're producing nothing from your barracks right now. So that's just, but that's a lot of practice. That's just hard to do, especially when you play bio. You need to be on your production. Okay, I need to check the door, because.
Okay, no problem.
Just think of one more question that you have, and then we'll answer that, and then I'll be right back.
I will write down the build order, see the follow-up here, and I follow up with questions if needed. Sure. That's great. Great. Thank you very much.
2 seconds.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Okay. So, is there anything that came to mind?
No. I think it's fine. I will practice on that. I will have your template copied to a spreadsheet that will help. So that's great, man. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, if you have any questions in the future, you want to do another session in the future, feel free.
Sure, let's keep. I have also a couple of friends that might join me the next time, if you are okay with that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's super fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
And what else? Huh?
No worries. I hope you had fun and that you learned something.
Yeah, sure. That was awesome. Okay, so cheers. We keep in touch. Bye.
Yes. Hey, have a nice day, man.
Thank you.
Okay, there we go. So, if any of you espionage, for example, if you are interested in doing some free coaching with me, just click on the command or join the Discord, and there's a nice form for you to fill out, where you just tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you like to do in the game? What is your rank? What do you want to work on? And then there's a schedule. I do this every Saturday usually. So if you want to receive some coaching, just hang out, talk about StarCraft. We can also just play 2v2 if you really want. Like, I just want to have fun with the game. You filled in the form? Nice. I think I have room for next week, actually. So, next Saturday. But I'll be in touch. For now, that was me. I need to hurry and go to the shops because my mother's birthday is today, actually, and I'm going there tomorrow to give her gifts. But first, I need to buy the gifts. Oh, you sent a message on Discord? Great. So yeah, that's gonna be the stream for today. Thank you guys for hanging out. I hope you had fun. Thank you. I'll tell her Vespionage said happy birthday, and she'll just be a regular boomer, be like, who's that? Who is that? Okay, I'm gonna end the stream. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next week.